You've watched the planning videos, read up on all the tips, but you might have missed the things on this list. Even if you're a FastPass master and know which restaurants to book first, there are still a few things you probably don't know how to do in Disney World. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Some of the things we're talking about today are new post-park reopening tips you probably haven't considered yet, and some are solutions to problems we've been dealing with forever. Whether you've been to Disney many times or you're planning your first Disney World trip, we've got tips for everybody today. So here are 15 things you don't know how to do in Disney World. Okay, number one is get that evasive 999,999 points on Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin is a ride and game rolled into one over there in Magic Kingdom. If you want to max out your score and win a highly coveted sticker, this is how you do it. Practice using your gun and spinning the ride vehicle. It takes some getting used to. And in the first room, you're going to encounter a big robot. Aim for the target on the inside of those arms to rack up 100,000 points. As you exit the first room, aim for the claw above you to score another 100,000 points. You can keep shooting at this as you're moving into the second room. Now in the second room, aim for the top of the volcano. Keep firing. This is the highest point item in the room. In the third room, on Zurg's ship, there's a target at the bottom that will net you 25,000 points. And when you're traveling through the Star Tunnel, try to hit the body of the spaceship that's flying around for another 100,000. Follow those tips and you may just reach Galactic Hero status. We have a whole video on tips to get a high score on other rides like Toy Story Mania and Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Be sure to check that one out next. Next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World, check for a Bounceback offer. Bounceback offers are a great way to plan your next trip to Disney World while you're still on vacation. Disney often has these running. I'm not going to say they always have them running, but they do often have them running, and they are only available to you if you are currently still on your Disney vacation. It's basically a way to get you to book another trip before you're even done with this one. They're usually pretty enticing offers. Sometimes they even include the free dining plan when it's not on offer anywhere else. So if you want to consider booking a Bounceback offer or you want to know if there's one available, check around your room. There's sometimes a flyer in your room or on the table in there that lets you know what the current Bounceback offer is, but you can also call 407-939-1923 or just call 8844 from your in-room phone, and they should be able to tell you what the Bounceback offer is if there is one currently. Now remember, this doesn't lock you into anything. You can still cancel that vacation, cancel that trip that you book. It's just a great way to get a great deal if you do decide to take that next vacation. Next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World, resort hop. Now I know, you're saying, AJ, of course I know how to resort hop in Disney World. I've been there a million times. Okay, but do you know how to do it right now? We weren't sure if things would start to get a bit more lax once more resorts and restaurants reopened along with the parks, but it's still pretty complicated to resort hop at the moment. In most cases, you need an advanced dining reservation to get into a resort that you aren't staying at, even if you're staying at another Disney resort. You may be able to get in using a mobile order, but it's been hit or miss for us, so you shouldn't count on that being enough to grant you entrance to the resort. You want to plan ahead if you want to visit other resort hotels, so make a table service reservation, plan a sit-down meal, and take some time to look around. All right, this is one that I think is really important. You may not, but I do. And this is how not to feel like you're being squashed on Flight of Passage. All right, Flight of Passage is an incredible ride in Pandora and Animal Kingdom that has some not so incredibly comfortable seats. The ride vehicle is kind of like a bike. You straddle the seat and lean forward onto a chest pad, and then a back piece comes up to keep you locked in. Now, if you're not prepared, that back piece can really squash you in there. So this is what I always do when I'm riding Flight of Passage. I puff out my belly real big when the back is coming up, and then I breathe out after the back is locked in, and I have a little extra wiggle room. Okay, the next thing you don't know how to do right now in Disney World, find your car in the parking lot. Now, this has been a problem since 1971 when Magic Kingdom opened. We're not gonna lie. You're excited to get to Disney World, you park your car and go about your day, and when you're ready to head home, you realize you have no idea where you parked your car. This is why you keep hearing car alarms going off in Disney World parking lots, because people are setting off their car alarms from their key fobs just to find their car. Now, the old school solution to remember where you parked is to write down which section you parked in. Disney parking lots are marked by section and number to help you out. But you can also use the Find My Car app or drop a pin where your car is if you're using Apple Maps. Apple Maps may even mark your spot for you. The other old school way to solve the lost car problem is to ask cast members. They have a list of what sections were parked at what time. So long as you know about when you arrived, they can give you a good idea of where your car might be. All right, the next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World, see and find your favorite characters. Characters aren't doing traditional meet and greets right now. You'll either see them in character cavalcades or at surprise pop-up meet and greets throughout the parks. There's no schedule, and it'll feel wrong not having a definite time and place to see your favorites, but trust us, you will see them. We've seen way more characters with the cavalcades, especially at places like Animal Kingdom that aren't usually super character-y than we have in the past. As for those surprise pop-ups, keep an eye out for fenced-off areas or mini stages. Anna and Elsa are now greeting guests in a little fenced area in the Norway Pavilion of Epcot. And once things get back to normal and meet and greets start up again, remember all you have to do to find your favorite characters is look at the Times Guide. The Times Guide is a special sheet that's printed every day at each Disney World park that tells you which shows and which characters are happening where and when. The next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World, get around Epcot. All right. Getting around that park right now can be a huge challenge. I have grown up in Epcot. It has been my favorite park for so many years. And when I walk in there right now, I am completely confused. They are ripping up that park stem to stern, and there are tons of arrows and construction walls and convoluted ways to get from here to there. If anybody remembers when they were redoing Disney Springs and it was just a disaster for like years, that's kind of how I feel in Epcot. So while the entire center section of Future World is out of play and completely closed, you've got to go to Future World West or East on newly created Paths by the Seas Pavilion or the coming soon Guardians of the Galaxy coaster. Also, if you're looking for that Disney merchandise, you're going to have a hard time finding Mouse Gear, the big merch store, nowadays. The original Mouse Gear is closed for some big renovations, but there's a temporary location in Innoventions East in the direction of Test Track, so be sure to pick up a map. Now, if you want a little cheat sheet right here, when you walk in and get to Spaceship Earth, turn left for Test Track, Mission Space, and Frozen Ever After, and turn right for Soarin'. If you want to get to World Showcase, you can go either way. Left is going to drop you in Mexico, and right will drop you in Canada. Now, speaking of Epcot, another thing you don't know how to do in Disney World is get the best seat on Soarin'. Believe it or not, all seats on Soarin' are not created equal. Right now, you may not be able to use this tip as cast members are asking people not to make special requests for seats, but if the ride isn't crowded or you're traveling sometime in the future, ask for section B1. That will put you smack in the center of the screen so you won't get any wonky, warped screens that make the Eiffel Tower bow really funny in one direction or the other. All right, the next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World is manage all those virtual shopping queue lines. Ever had to wait 2 hours to get into a store in Disney World? No? Well, now you might. Virtual queues are a way for stores around Disney World to manage capacity without having to keep people standing in a literal queue. You sign up for the list with a cast member at the front of the store, and then you'll receive a text message to come back when it's your time to shop. We've only seen them used when crowds are large or some super in-demand merchandise has been released, so you may not encounter them when you're there, but you should be prepared in case you do. If you see a cast member standing outside and a big sign that says there's a virtual waiting list or a virtual queue, don't worry about it. They're easy to navigate. Just ask the cast member what you need to do next. The next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World is use rideshare services. Okay, so we often recommend using rideshare services around Disney World to get places you need to get quickly and to make sure you don't miss early morning dining reservations or that all-important Rise of the Resistance booking window. But I do realize that a lot of people don't know how to use rideshare services or don't know how to use them in Disney World specifically because there are a lot of weird little quirks and issues that come into play when you use a rideshare service around Disney World. So let's get this out of the way first. The Disney Run minivans, which is a partnership with Lyft, are not running right now, and we're not sure when they're coming back, but you can still use rideshare services around Disney World. Both Lyft and Uber are still running their regular services and will take you anywhere in Disney World, even to the parks. Just download the apps and keep an eye out for any first-time user promo codes. Now, you'll want to make sure you know where you'll get picked up or dropped off. Each park has a specific drop-off and pickup location that will be marked on the map. For Magic Kingdom, this is at the Transportation and Ticket Center rather than at the park entrance. Something to keep in mind if you're short on time. You may be taking a Lyft or an Uber to the Magic Kingdom because you have a dining reservation in 15 minutes, but they'll drop you at the Transportation and Ticket Center, and you still got to take the monorail or the ferry to get into the Magic Kingdom. So if you are taking an Uber or a Lyft to get to the Magic Kingdom quickly, just have them drop you off at the Contemporary Resort, and then you can just walk to the Magic Kingdom. It'll be a little bit faster than maybe trying to get that monorail or ferry. Now, at Disney Springs, you can only be picked up or dropped off toward the ends near the Christmas Shop Marketplace or by Cirque du Soleil. Lyft uses more specific drop-off and pickup locations than Uber does because of that partnership, and you can get picked up right at your room rather than walking to the lobby at many resorts. This is especially helpful if you are very, very, very far away from the lobby at some of those Disney Vacation Club resorts like Saratoga Springs Resort or Kidani Village. I felt like I'd won the lottery the day I found out that rideshares could come pick me up in the Pumbaa section of the parking garage because it basically saved me 20 minutes of walking over to the resort lobby. Now, you may need a larger vehicle for up to 5 guests, and you can request that in the app, or a more upscale vehicle if you're splurging on date night. Most standard rideshares will not have car seats. That was a big perk of minivans. Standard rideshares are quite a bit cheaper though, $8 to $10 for most locations around Disney World, and $30 or $40 to the airport versus minivans that start around $25 at your minimum trip around Disney World. Currently, all passengers are required to wear masks in rideshares, and no one can ride in the front seat with the driver due to social distancing requirements. Okay, now let's talk about how to make dining reservations. So it's still the same process to make an advanced dining reservation at Disney restaurants. You can make reservations through the Disney World website or the My Disney Experience app. But the big difference right now, and I just had an email about this the other day from somebody who wasn't aware of it, is that you can only make your reservation 60 days in advance as opposed to the previous 180 days in advance. Remember to set an alarm so you don't miss it, since restaurants are operating at limited capacity right now. Now, if you miss out on those advanced dining reservations, you can still check for same-day reservations like old times. Just keep checking back for openings. But you might have better luck with this new feature Disney has rolled out. The walk-up wait list will show up at restaurants that have open availability right at that moment, and by joining, you add your name to the queue to be seated. It won't show up at every restaurant. They're adding more all the time though, and you need to be close to that restaurant, literally physically close to that restaurant in order to join the list. So I couldn't join it from here in Dallas. Now, something else to note that's a little bit weird and different is that they've actually added a couple of bars and lounges to that walk-up wait list, which means you can now book reservations for a couple of places you never could before, like Nomad Lounge. For example, you could always just walk up and go into Nomad Lounge, and sometimes you still can, but sometimes you'll be asked to use the walk-up waitlist feature in order to add your name to be seated. All right, the next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World, get your photo taken. I know, it's just a photo. How could it be so complicated? Well, Disney has some new rules in place that will change how you do things when it comes to taking those vacation pictures. You can't take your mask off for photos, for example. If you do that on a ride or in a photo taken by a FastPass photographer, you won't get your photograph. Photographers also cannot take a photo with your camera or phone, which we always used to tell you to do. They're not allowed to do it anymore. They won't handle any of your personal belongings. So if you're used to just asking for them to snap a pic with your phone, you'll have to make another plan. All right, the next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World, find the best meal on property for under $20. So finding a good, cheap meal at Disney World can be hard, but not if you know where to look. The best will likely vary person to person, but you can start your search by looking at quick service locations around Disney World. Meal prices will be lower no matter if you're looking for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Some of our favorite locations are Satuli Canteen in Animal Kingdom, Contempo Cafe at the Contemporary Resort, Captain Cook's at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, Ronto Roasters in Hollywood Studios, and Regal Eagle in Epcot, but there are a lot more options. And we actually have videos on how to get great meals on a budget. So be sure to check DFB Guide here on YouTube to find those particular videos. We have loads of them. Also, be sure to pick up a copy of our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining over at dfbstore.com. That's 700 plus pages of highly researched and thoroughly reviewed restaurant details and recommendations for every single location in Disney World. Okay, the next thing you don't know how to do in Disney World is get a boarding pass. The one thing that everyone going to Disney World right now should know, unless you're really not into Star Wars, how to get a boarding pass to Rise of the Resistance. We have lots of articles over on DisneyFoodBlog.com that give tips on how to increase your chances of riding this top attraction, and we've talked about it here on the channel as well, but our biggest tips are: 1, plan ahead. You want to link all of your tickets in advance, make accounts in the My Disney Experience app for everyone in your travel party, add everyone to your friends and family list so you're ready to go when the day comes. Don't use that Wi-Fi in Disney World. Everyone else is going to be on the Disney Wi-Fi, so if you can, use your own data. And keep your phone charged. You'll get a push notification when it's your time to ride, so you want to make sure your phone is charged and push notifications are enabled. You can always keep an eye on the electronic boards around the park to see which groups are boarding when. They'll just need to scan your Magic Banner ticket at the entrance to the ride. Good to know in case your phone does die. And remember, over there at Hollywood Studios, boarding passes are given out twice a day, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And you've got to be in the park, that means tapped into the park, in order to get a boarding pass. And the next thing and last thing you don't know how to do in Disney World is plan in advance. This is so important right now. With opening policies changing and being reworked constantly, it's hard to feel confident in your distant future travel ability. Not all Disney resorts have their reopening dates yet, and things could change at any time. The hotel you want to stay at may not end up opening on time. This often includes being swapped into a new room, potentially an upgrade. But what if you are only happy at a certain resort in a certain room type? Disney has just recently extended their flexible cancellation policy through April 2021, so if you need to change or cancel your trip dates, it's a bit easier. Still, with no FastPass and limited dining reservations, it's all a nightmare if you're a micromanager like me. It's definitely possible to go it on your own right now, but we'd highly recommend enlisting the help of a travel agent to help you decipher all of the updates and changes and figure out all the discounts that they're releasing as well. We love Small World Vacations. You guys know that. They're experts who will help you find the best deal and make your vacation planning as smooth as possible. They'll also know when every teeny tiny change happens. So if it's something they can handle without you even having to know about it, they will make sure to do that to improve your trip without you having to lift a finger. If you want to get in touch with Small World Vacations for a no obligation quote, absolutely do that. We'll put the link at the bottom of this video. Now, did this list help you feel a bit more prepared, I hope? Are you ready to visit the parks and get a new high score on Buzz Lightyear? With so much changing at Disney World right now, it can be hard to feel like you've planned a successful trip, but we are here to help. We're constantly bringing you the latest tips we've learned from visiting Disney World right now here on our YouTube channel and over at DisneyFoodBlog.com. And the bottom line is, you guys, you're going to have a great time. You're going to be with your family, you're going to be on a fun trip with your friends, or you're going to be on a solo getaway. No matter what, you're going to be in the most magical place on earth. You're going to have a blast, so don't stress about it too much. All right, everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for watching. This is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.